Okay, DM. Sorry for the delay on the recap. This is Callum session from October the 10th, 2022. All right. So I started off. I'm up in the air. I just powered up for the first time since coming from the psychic plane, and I can sense 12 to 24 powers sensing. Like as I sense them, they're sensing me back. I'm offering like I offer kind of like like the equivalent of an acknowledgement, like a head nod to one, and the second pause. That was where I picked up. That was where I left off. So picking up, the second power starts moving towards me pretty fast. So I'm trying to orient myself like to kind of like where I am. I can see the world tree in the distance, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get an idea of a place I can go where, like, if anything happens, I can get away from a populated center. So at first I was going to go over the water, but I had to like go kind of like past population centers to do that. So the best place was the open plains in the northwest. I'll go heading out there. So some other great powers I can sense are Legion, which was interesting. I know there's Vicious Legion, but I mean, like figuring out how all of these things fit into the world relative to others, them relative to Guardians and stuff like that was interesting. So Legion Ravona, who is the head of the Silver Spectres, um, this is a guy. I can sense his power. He's a one of six, which means he's melded. He's one legion melded with six other vicious legion, and he's awakened. He's stronger than me, but his power is muted. So trying to get like those accurate percentages, like I could pick up with characters like Iroku, can't get that. Legion Hadrian, he's the High Commander of the High Council. This is like the Legion on this planet. He's a one of 11. He's stronger than both me and Ravona. Um, but I can't tell like what are we talking 15? Like am I 50% of him? Is he 10 times me? I can't tell. Um, and then I can kind of sense my mom. She's definitely weaker, and her power is muffled too. So this is stuff that I was picking up. Like more information was still coming in as I was moving. So the person who's coming to me also has one of those muffled displaced auras. Um, they're comparable to me, but possibly stronger. So still moving. Definitely want to get away. Um, the approaching power senses human, and it picks up speed, and it's getting to the point where it's like the DM describes it as like a bullet moving in time air. Now that's crazy, crazy. This might be the fastest speed feat. No, probably Exodus's swords in the movie. Yeah, cause I'm moving pretty fast now, and for this to be moving like a bullet to time air is crazy. Um, and the person flies up on me. Um, White male. He's got a thick beard, like think one of those like old school Viking beards. His eyes are lit up blue. He's got these seals over his body. I think they were like in no, they were changing color. I think they did start blue and they changed later. But like like with these, like it'll be like a circular seal with like different images and runes and stuff like that in it, and he's got like different glowing symbols and stuff all over his body, and he's got like this kind of aura coming off of him. Real cool look to him. So his name is Kincaid. So he introduces himself. He's Kincaid, and he's the current tournament champion of the planet. So this is our champion. This is our guy. Doesn't necessarily mean he's the strongest person on the planet, but like as that tournament champion, it's one of those kind of things that's going to put you up there. Um, like I know I know of him because well, I think I would just know him in general as the planet's champion, but also because I know his brother Connor Kincaid. Connor, a few years back, maybe 3 4 years back, had come by our base while he was kind of traveling around doing these rounds of training. Um, uh, So, but that's little brother Connor. This older one, we just know him by his last name, Kincaid. He's covered in battle scars too. I would say he's like early to mid 30s. Um, like yeah, and yeah, that's basically it. So when he flies up on me, he wants me to hide myself, like to I guess to kind of mute my power, how some of these other powers are, but I don't know how to do that. So he explains that like I've become like a beacon, and now like a primal boss is coming here, and I'm like, oh shit. And the funny thing is, this is the crazy thing. When I first powered up, after I powered up, I was like, well, okay, all right, let me go back and power back down. And the DM was like, player, you just feel like you should stay like this. This is just, this just feels right. Like, all right, cool. And now a primal's coming after me. I see you, DM. I see you. So he explains that basically a primal is going to come here to challenge, to kind of offer a challenge, and it's like so when a primal comes here, at least in this way, it's like they can offer a formal challenge, to get an opportunity, I guess, to like kill me or take me away or something like that. It's not. I thought of it. It would just be more like kind of just standard warfare. Like if they could come in and kill, they would just do it. Um, and he was saying that he's going to help me, and he's going to be like the person who basically is the tip of the spear, because he wants to make sure that in this encounter, well, not necessarily in this encounter, he can see a lot of potential in me and everything. He already like thinks of me as strong, but beyond that, he can sense a lot of potential, and he's kind of looking at it like we can't lose you in something silly like this. So, but at the same time, we can't necessarily just avoid it, because especially because I can't mute my power. And if I'm being honest, I'm not even sure how much that would have made a difference anyway. So he reaches up to one of the seals and kind of turns it, and I think it turns to like an orange color, and his power starts to raise. So, and it's like it raises a bit and it becomes sharper. Um, and um, he flies up, like high up in the air, and he waits for me. And I fly up there to meet up with him, and I can feel myself like go beyond this threshold, and then like it's like it's more so like one of those things you feel, but you can't see anything. It's not like when you go through like the Wakanda, like veil, and then and now you can see Wakanda. Like it felt like that though. So everything below that threshold now feels muffled. So I can sense that the primal boss feels like she's on Iroku's level, um, and um, I like communicate with Sir Laura, like, Sir Laura, I need the spear, like, let's go. And he's like, okay, he comes out, he acknowledges it, and hauls ass out of there. So we're waiting and waiting and waiting, and right before she gets here, I'm saying she because I mean it's a she. I don't know this at this point, but as she comes up, as she's coming in, Sir Laura comes back. Now she's kind of close at this point, and I'm getting a little on edge, and he's basically like, Iroku said that that risking the Arcanos here, the spear, is far too dangerous, and it will be available to me in different matters when I need it and stuff. But like, like the way how disastrous it could be if something goes wrong and the primals get the Arcanos would be almost as bad as if they get the other half of the All Black. Now I like to remind you, if the black guy gets the All Black, all life in the universe ends. So I don't know the specifics of what it means for the Arcanos, like, if the primals get the Arcanos, but shit, we might have to destroy the Arcanos. I don't know. So, like, Kincaid explains that he wants me to name him as my champion, and he like reiterates and everything how he wants to make sure I survive. And I was telling him how, well, I was like, listen, I'm here to fight I'm here to fight best that we can. I'm not interested in, like, having you fight for me. Having said that though, You obviously know what's going on. You seem to be more directly experienced with the primals than I am. So I'm not a fool. I'm not going to ignore you. If naming you as my champion is the way to go, I'll do it. But I am just so you know, I'm ready to get it in. So he appreciated that. Oh, also before we flew up here when we were talking, like we exchanged words, like we're like where we were both able to really communicate that each of us was very in the know about the primals, and he really appreciated. Yes, I don't have to explain a bunch of stuff. So no, bro, I am in. Like I know about the primals. So then he looks over. He's like, ah, oh, this bitch. So Primal Boss flies up. She's a woman. She kind of looks like. Actually, she might be based on Sarah, the Queen of Blades from StarCraft, but she has that similar kind of look to her. She is like very pretty, about 5'6", way small, like 3 feet shorter than Callum. She's got like this whip like tail with like this kind of like long obsidian blade, and um, when she gets there, I can't remember if she powers up or is that I'm able to sense her more clearly, but she was like two. She's about 2 to 2.5 times what I am. So just so you understand, if she's 2 times what I am, that puts her about where Iroku is. If she is 2.5 times, that's going to make her a little stronger than Iroku. And she's about 1.5 times Kincaid. So she um oh, you know what? I'm sorry, I think I did this out of order. She got there and she started talking first. But I mean eventually she powers up basically. But when she gets there, she's hostile towards Kincaid and she seems very interested in me. And like she's just like, like you should join us. And I'm just like, yeah, no thank you. And like she's like saying like, like you can come and like you can be one with us and you can escape, death and destruction and things like that. And Kincaid is like, this is the point where you be able to name me. And I was like Kincaid, I name you as my champion. And she kind of like hissed at him. And I think this is when her power started growing and expanding, and where you get the 2.5 times of what I am and everything. So then she produces, after she gets to the point where she's doubled to 2.5 times me, she produces a clone that looks like it's of pure energy. And then after it being pure energy, after it being pure energy, then it looks exactly like her. And now there's two of her basically. And KK is like, okay, so I didn't know she could do this. Well, he understood that she had the ability, and some of them have the ability to make copies, but he's never dealt with them making copies this perfectly that matches the original strength. So he's like, he just kind of looks at me, and I was like, name me, and I'll fight for you. And he's like, I don't actually know your name yet. I was kind of smiled. I was like, Callum. He's like, Callum. He's like, I name you as my champion. And I was like, I accept. So, his advice to me was to mind her tail and her other bits, like her hair parts and stuff like that. And I think she had parts of her armor that were like kind of sharp and piercing. And beware of her psychic powers. And I was like, how do you resist psychic power? No, I was like, what do you do to fight psychic powers? He's like, you resist them. Okay. I can't even get mad at Kincaid because shit's about to pop off, and he doesn't probably have the time to like really try, even if he has a much better explanation, to like say, okay, all right, this is what you want to do. It's 6 steps. Like, we don't have that kind of time. So he does the rune thing again, but this time it's a bigger effect. So he turns the runes on his body, and his power begins to grow. And some of them are orange, some are blue, some are green, and some are red. like all of these different like colors and stuff, and they're moving, and there's movement, color changing. It's a lot of like activity on his body. Excuse me. Arya's aura feels like it's everywhere. Oh, that's her name. He mentioned that her name was Arya, the brood lieutenant. So her aura was everywhere, and I could kind of feel it mixing with mine. It did. I was nervous about that, so fuck, because she's a psychic. So, but it didn't seem like it was doing anything. It felt like a very just kind of like if heat fills the room and then the heat is interacting with you. It felt like a natural thing, and it wasn't really doing anything. So Kincaid and the Arya clone, or the original, I don't know, but Kincaid and one of the Aryas go flying off in a different direction, and I fly over to attack her. I come in. Now remember, in this state, I don't have all of my various energy projection auras. I don't even have my axe. I'm just hitting hard. I'm going off of hitting hard, moving fast, taking punishment, and flying and sensing. That's it. That's the five fingers of Callum right now. So I come in, boom, I go in hit her. And she did seem a little caught off guard by how fast I was. Like, definitely like to see that. So now when I go to hit her, she, like, there's this shield, like, it's like an energy shield that, like, naturally pops up, like, 1 inch from her body that just kind of stops me. Now I can feel it, like it's like it's straining to resist me, but it is definitely resisting me. And then, like, as I'm doing that, she, like, kind of moves around and starts to grab onto me. So I grab her and throw her off of me. And then, like, she goes flying and it just kind of stops suddenly, gracefully, repositions herself. I come to blitz her again. Go to hit her in the face. And I come in and I'm actually cracking the shield, like a little, I'm cracking the shield a little bit. I maneuver around to go for a kidney shot. Boom, and I crack the shield even more, and then she just kind of slinks into me, and like she slinks into me and grabs onto me. Now earlier, I think before. So I said this a little wrong. So Kincaid flew off, and me and her had a few words, and like I basically had promised her like I wouldn't go down easily, and when she slinked into me this time, she was like I was promised more, and I tried to so she was close to me. Now I'm very mindful of her blade the whole time, and this time, I had grabbed onto the blade. It's like this part or her tail in the blade. So this part is the blade. So I grab onto like this part of the tail, and I'm holding it, and I go to like stab her. Like, wait, hold on. No, this was a different encounter. So she slinked into me, and I threw her off of me again, and then I go in to attack her, and this time I go to try to stab her with her blade, but she gets so close to me and grabs onto me, and it's like she's melting into me sensually and seductively, and I'm getting really nervous because I'm wondering, like, is this how she employs her psychic abilities and stuff? So she's moving in, and then I throw her again, but I come over again quickly, and I get around her, and this time I go to do a Polish hammer on her tail to knock the blade into her body. This is the first time where she was kind of like, like she made sure to get her tail out the way. She wasn't trying to do any cool, sexy bullshit, and that I kind of took a mental note of that. I was like, she doesn't want to get stabbed with that blade. Okay, I see you. So when that doesn't work, she moves back, and she's like she keeps expressing this like desire to be close to me and and she just wants me and everything, and she's moaning in my ear with different times and stuff, like different times we encounter and everything, like holding on to me, putting her head next to mine, stroking me, all of this kind of stuff throughout the fight. So I'm like, okay, hold on. I'm like, let's talk. Because I'm getting concerned about constantly getting close to her, and she's fast and reflexive enough to like to maintain control, and I can get some good offense on her, but I can't maintain the pressure enough to really throw off balance to get closer to a win. So I'm like, she's too. I'm not going to run while Kincaid's here. Fighting isn't working. Run, fight. What's the last one, guys? Talk. So I'm like, hey, let's talk. And this is the other thing because, before Kincaid flew off with the other one, he said, I'm going to try to take this bitch out and then I'll come, just survive and I'll come back to help you. Cool. So I'm like, all right, maybe if I just talk to her, I can distract her long enough and then Kincaid can win his fight, come back over and help me, and we'll take her out. So, I'm asking her, why are you doing this? What do you want? And she explains that she wants to grow strong and save all life. Okay. She leads the Crimson Chorus, she said. And I asked her, basically, what were you before you were this? Because my assumption is that she was some other being, and then this primal brood attacked her world or something. She was assimilated, and now she's Arya. And she says she's always been Arya. Okay. I mean, I don't know. Maybe she has always been Arya. I don't know. So, I was, she mentioned that if she went down below the barrier, the threshold where it's I can't send stuff on the planet because everything is muted beyond that threshold. If she goes down to the planet, it will be fatal for her. No, I'm gonna keep that in mind. I'm sorry, back up a little bit. The reason she mentioned that is because I was saying maybe we can maybe we could am I already at that point? Yeah, I guess I was talking about us having a conversation, meeting up again and having a conversation somewhere else. I was getting us to a place where it's listen, let's have a ceasefire and figure things out. I'm sorry, because getting things out of order because of the way I wrote my notes. She said that if I agreed to come and become what would be a brood captain, so I would come in and be above her. If I would come in and be a brood captain, then she could guarantee that her brood would leave Illyria for good. Illyria is our planet, but the problem is that we're a threat. We're under a threat from all the primals and everything. So it's that's nice, and it might buy us extra time and stuff like that. But the primals broadly are a threat. Period. Eventually, another brood will likely come here. But I said that's something to consider. But I was telling her, I was listen, I have people that I answer to. I have people that I'm connected to that trust me, that I trust. I can't just make a decision like that. I need to just talk it over with them. So why don't I do that, and then I can come back? That's where we got into the place where we were talking about where we would meet. As she was saying, she can't come down there because it would be fatal to her. She suggested that we go to one of the moons. I wasn't down to do that. And so I was continuing to explain to her that because I was saying, oh no, she was concerned that if I go and if I go, that my people may turn me against her, may turn me away from the deal. And I said, well, that's a possibility. I mean, we are enemies now. And she was like, I don't think of us as enemies. And she thinks that there is a greater enemy that's out there spreading lies on the galactic scale. And this enemy known as the Zelrain. Now, the Zelrain is one of the ancient races that created the prime, or they were created by one of the rogue Zelrain That's who created the primals, and she thinks the Zelrain are still around, spreading lies and everything about the primals. I guess the perspective that the primals are a threat to existence when, excuse me, when she believes them to be like the key to kind of unlocking the potential of life and saving everybody. So she believes that they're still out there. And one of the things she talked about that we could do together is we can find them and we can kill them. Now, we actually need to stop the primals, like those of us who are trying to stop the primals. We need to find the Zelrain and get one of, I think, and flip a few of them to our side. So finding and killing the Zelrain is definitely not something I'm interested in. So, let me say, she mentioned that she was concerned, like not just that I might be turned against her by my people, but the fact that I have others that I answer to, and it was like the first thing that was making her like kind of like maybe a little weary of me, because the whole time she seemed extremely interested, extremely attracted, turned. It was almost like she was part falling in love with Callum and part starting to worship him as the fight as shit. I mean, I was thinking of it as the fight, but as the encounter was going, this is the first time that she became like weary of me, and she was like and she was weary of the fact that I answer to these other people, and and she was talking about how like her deal, like like the way she is with her brood, this diplomacy that we're engaging in everything right now is like a mercy that other broods won't engage in. She said if the Leviathan brood were here, the planet will fall within minutes. Um, and we started talking about the Black God. I think he's the one who runs the Leviathan brood. I have those notes, but I could be mistaken at here. And the conversation shifted again because the Black God is the one who has the other half of the All Black. So Arya does not want the Black God to reach the All Black. She doesn't want that to happen because that'd be the end of all life, and she's trying to preserve life through assimilating people. And I'm trying to impress upon her. I'm like, then that guy's not. I mean, I understand you might all be the Black Sky, but that guy he's an enemy then. Like he's literally a threat to all life. It's like I'm saying work with us against him, and she's like, that's what I want to do. I'm like, no, not by assimilating. You know what I mean, Arya. And she mentioned Dagon has been considering what to do with this world. I don't know what that means. Um, like as we were talking, the mist from her eyes begins to fade, and I can see that she has green eyes. Um, like she said, if I really wanted to, she said that it'll probably be in our interest to kill the All Black to prevent the end of life. Now I don't know how possible that is because the All Black, like I've already had that conversation. One of my people has the All Black, and he's already said that like I won't be able to sacrifice my life, like I won't be sacrificing my life to to save the greater good or anything like that. And what he was saying is like, just so you understand, I don't mean I'm not willing to. The All Black won't allow it to happen, so there won't be any mercy killing or anything. We just have to have a protracted battle with the All Black, and the All Black is powerful. I would imagine it's hard to tell because I was so much weaker at the time, but I would imagine the All Black is at least at Roku level. Like it was crazy. So he was but she was mentioning it. I was also letting not really letting her know like that I had that one of my people Dirge, I believe it is, has the All Black. I wasn't given any of that kind of information. I was speaking in very like what ifs and let's say that's true, that like that kind of stuff. Um, like she talked about how she doesn't really think of us as enemies, kind of with the exception of Kincaid. Said they fought a bunch of times and he's killed her 5 times. So it's like, wow. Um, I suggest the 2 day. We do a 2 day truce. We separate from our people. You talk to your people about working with us to make sure that the black god and the other half of the all black don't come together, and I'll talk to my people about potentially going with becoming a primal captain so that they leave Illyria. Um, like she's open to the 2 day truce, uh, and she agrees, and she also, as an like an additional like gesture of goodwill, um, she decides that she's going to pull any active legion off the planet. I might have just saved Keith Lamar, DM. I might come on, DM. Come on, DM. Diplomacy, baby. So, um, we make that agreement and we decide to separate. And she's just like, look, oh, she was getting closer to me and closer to me. And before I was just backing up, but I got to the point where I was like, as the conversation was getting more and more, I don't, more and more towards temporary peace. And it seemed like we were understanding each other. I let her get close and close and close. As she came up and she like kind of put her hand on my cheek and everything, and she looked in my eyes. And it seemed like it was paining her to withdraw from me. But she did eventually. And I think I like took her hand and pulled it away and kind of put my hand on it. It was like, like we'll talk, we'll talk in 2 days, we'll continue this. And, I think she said like something like that'll be like an eternity for me. And oh man, this will forever be known as the I need an adult fight, or I need a hotel, one or the other. So she eventually, I asked her if she can disengage, if she can pull other Arya off of Kincaid, and she was saying that she doesn't have enough control over the fight to just stop it, but she can, start making it so that the clone's not attacking him. And I could sense that it felt like he was chasing it. It went from constant clashes to now him chasing her because the clone is just being defensive and disengaging. So Arya and I separate, and I go flying over to Kincaid because Kincaid mentioned he can't beat the two of them together. So I didn't want to risk Arya getting to him first and the two of them killing Kincaid or something. So I hauled ass over there. I get over there. Clone Arya and Kincaid are really, really beat up. Like they're scratched up, wounds. He looks like he's been through it. The blade part of her tail is missing. They're all messed up. So, Kincaid or Arya is about to attack him. My father was like, Arya, stop. No, I flew over to him first. I'm like, listen, Kincaid. He's like, man, you're in good shape. You're tougher than I thought. I'm like, no, I made a deal, like quick truce, and and he's like, you made a deal, and I was like, yeah, I was like 2 days of peace, and I was like, and Arya, she hissed, and I was like, Arya, stop. I said, I made a deal. I said, search it with your other self, and she was like, and she hissed again, and she was like, die to him. She just flew over to attack him, and I flew over to meet her, and I kind of swam around her, grabbed her arms to kind of wrench them back, and he flew over and reached right into her chest and pulled out her still beating heart, and then as this was happening, she was looking up at me with this longing look in her face, and it seemed like she didn't even care about the fact that her heart was being ripped out. The fact that she was about to be separated from me was what was really causing her the pain. Yikes. Callum needs an adult. So so Clone Arya dies, and she's just there, kind of floating there. We're so high. I think she was maybe floating there. We're really high up in the upper atmosphere. It is hard for Callum to breathe, but I'm still okay. Not hard. It is noticeably more challenging, but it's nowhere near hard for me to breathe. So I tell him a brief, a bridge version of what happened and the fact that we're gonna we're gonna do this 2 day peace thing. He was like, okay, be careful because she's a slippery one, and but he said he would come back and he would be there with me. So I said, should we take her body back to the planet? Like, that seems valuable. And he explained that bringing her through the barrier would kill her. And he explained that one of the 5 times he fought her before, that's how he beat her. So, so you can't take these back to the body to be like dissected or anything, which fucking sucks. So he is starting to heal, but it's like it seems, all in all, it seems slow to relative to the injuries and stuff he has. So we start flying back down. We're talking, and he's saying he's gonna go to the healing springs. He needs about a day to heal, but he is gonna come back in time for the day meeting back up here in the sky. Um, and uh, so he and I, he thanks me. We embrace, do a kind of saying, kind of handshake, and agree to meet up again in 2 days. He goes to the healing springs. I go to the seaside village. I was mad because I was like, I should have went to see where those were before I left. Probably going to need the healing springs in the future. Um, I make it back to the seaside village, and I sense Anthem, and he feels like he's powered down. Um, um, like I make it over to him, and we are walking and talking. We're just kind of shooting the shit and everything. And I tell him that I met a primal. I give him super abridged version of everything that happened. But I told him that we would go over everything because I'm going over to Oriana to basically debrief her. I did not mean for this recap to be this long. Sorry, but so we we're walking. We're kind of telling. We end up seeing one of the younglings, Erie. So when Erie's around, we're kind of just like talking about like like general stuff like from when we were kids and stuff, and how Anthem and Dirge used to break into armories and stuff like that. We're not talking about any of the primal stuff. I thank Erie for welcoming in me when I see him. I take Anthem over to see Oriana. We run into Val. Val, like, she has this kind of like just look and aura about her, like she really like seems like she's one of us. And as I make it into the village is like populated again. So the people who fled to get the hell away from when they were scared that I might hurt people when I came out of the psychic plane, they're back now. And where I left off, this is my last place. I could see Oriana in the center of the village. She's working over a large cauldron, and I could tell it's not food that she's preparing. And there are other people around her, and it is Callum, Anthem. I think Erie and Val broke off, so I think it's just Callum and Anthem that are walking over there to Oriana. And DM, that's where I left off. Sorry for the delay on the recap, and can't wait to play.